Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to episode 2 of Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. So, we have just finished up Jujutsu Kaisen last week. And so now we're moving into the next series for this slot. Another, obviously, First Impressions continuation. And that is Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt. I decided to go with this just because with everything else going on at the moment, I wanted to go into something a little lighter. And with the current schedule having multiple days that have multiple shows on it, and with October having the Halloween special movie reactions on top of all of that, I didn't want to bring in something that would be, you know, super heavy or super long. Like, I didn't want anything to be like a double length series in terms of runtime, you know? Because we have a bunch of different shows on our list for continuing impressions that are longer series in terms of runtime. And I wanted to, I guess you could say, ignore those for the time being, just so we could kind of keep things lighter. And I thought, what better way to do so with an impressions continuation than this series? This series, based off of the first episode, which we did of First Impressions 2, the first episode was really fucking fun. It was a lot funnier than I expected. It was more entertaining than I expected. The style of it is really interesting. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was entertaining. So, this is definitely something I want to see more of. There is a apparently second season finally coming at some point in the future. It was just semi-recently announced. And I think it's going to be done by a new studio or something, I think I heard. But, either way, I'm still excited to see what this season has in store, because a lot of people still swear by this show. This is still pretty popular. Like, I did see all the hype for when the new season was announced and everything. People were losing their minds. So I'm hoping that this continues to be really good. And I don't expect everything to be amazing in it. Like, it's segmented like a lot of Western shows and everything, which, you know, kind of the joke, kind of the point. It's a satire. And so I'm kind of thinking that some segments might not do it as much for me. And that's fine. But we'll judge this based on, like, just how it goes in general. And if by some reason these episodes do start to take a massive downturn for me, then I'll address that at that point. But for now, I don't think that's really going to happen. Again, there might be some segments or even a full episode here and there that I just am not as big a fan of. But I think overall, I'll probably still enjoy it. So we're just going to get into this. We are, once again, doing the dub, because I checked out a little bit of the sub, and it's not as good. It's not as funny. It's just not anywhere near as funny. So we're doing the dub. The dub VAs and the lines and the how everything is just like said, how everything, like the specific dialogue and everything is just better in the dub, in my opinion. Either way, we're just gonna get this going. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades black and it fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I think the reason this series is so appealing and is so fun to watch is because it's so ridiculously and stupidly over the top that it actually kind of like just swings back around to being really funny. Because you get the jokes. You obviously understand the jokes and references it's making a lot of the time. Like with the first segment here, obviously the popular girl at school controlling, in this case literally, everyone there. And it's like, yeah, you get the idea that's going for. The second one, obsessed with fame and the leaking of a sex tape and everything. It's like you get the joke there. You get the idea. It's very much a thing that has happened in real life, but they're obviously exaggerating the shit out of it with this series because that's what this series does. You get what each of these segments is going for. You understand the joke. And because of the over-exaggerated, just ridiculous way they present these segments, it allows them to be seen for the satire they are. Like, obviously there's some things in these that are, like, you know, problematic to put the least. But you know it's not out of any negative intent or anything. It's because it's meant to be stupid. It's meant to be ridiculous. It's meant to even be offensive in some cases. But that's the point. It's a satire. It's making fun of Western cartoons. It's making fun of all of these different tropes. And it's making fun of a lot of this just conceptual presentation of media, basically. And I've always said, and I continue to say, like, in the case of satire, certain things that would not be acceptable otherwise can be more acceptable because it's meant to be a joke. It's not meant to be taken seriously. It's not meant to be taken as like a legitimate like thing. And in a lot of cases in satire, it's not meant to be seen as positive either. Like, Panty is obviously like absolutely fucking obsessed with sex. Like, that is one of her character traits. And it's not presented as necessarily positive or negative. It's just how she is. But there's certain things she does that is very clearly not meant to be exactly the best. Like, obviously, she's a dickhole. She's an absolute piece of shit at times. As we see in the second segment here with how she treats Panty at the end, even after Panty helped her to stop the initial wave of this sex tapes release. But you even see, like, some negative things she does in the first segment, too. Like, it's not painting the fact that after, like, everything that happens, she fucks the entire high school football team. It's not painting that as a positive thing. It's painting it as her being an absolutely stupidly horny bitch who's just out to get her own self-gratification. It's not like trying to glorify an quote unquote adult character having sex with a teenager. That's not what it's going for. And you get that because, again, satire. It's a joke. It's making fun of characters in media or just in general the idea of someone being overly obsessed with sexuality and the act of, well, sex, of fucking. It's the joke, it's the idea, it's what it's making fun of. It's not meant to be taken as like this serious thing. It's definitely not meant to be taken as a positive thing, exactly. And there's nothing wrong with being sex positive. I'm one who constantly supports and stands up for sex workers. And I believe that, honestly, everyone should. Sex work is real work and deserves just as much respect. Even if you don't partake in watching it yourself or, being involved in it in any way, you can still support it and support the workers who are just doing a job, and a job that in a lot of cases they like, or even some cases they just have to do to make money. They should still be respected no matter what. And so there's nothing wrong with healthy views on sexuality. There's nothing wrong with liking sex, or liking sex work, or even liking porn. There's nothing wrong with any of that. And that's clearly not what this series is trying to say. It's taking things obviously in the most extreme direction possible. That's the point. And so you can see how it's a different situation than other shows and whatnot that aren't satire and that are trying to tell you messages that having sex when you're young is still fine, and that sexuality and nudity when you're underage is still fine and shit. And just, I'm just gonna, what I'm talking about. You clearly know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into it too far, but yeah. So yeah, the first segment, they go undercover at a school, though Panty has no idea how to actually go undercover. To find out, why students are disappearing and shit. And they end up coming across this girl named Barbie, who is the popular bitch. She's the mean girl. She's the girl everybody loves and worships and all, and it's you get the joke here. You could compare this to so many different things. So Panty kind of starts this almost competition with her, trying to become the new head bitch at the school and, get everyone's attention to her. This causes Barbie to get pissy and eventually leads into a fight between them on the football field, in which Barbie reveals her true nature as a giant queen bee alien, I guess. That would be the first thought. And we see she's been using bees to literally control the minds of the students, and we see she does end up getting defeated. It's a pretty simple setup and everything. I did not expect the actual, her being an actual bee kind of thing. That actually did somehow catch me off guard. But yeah, it was fun, it was ridiculous, it was goofy entertainment. And again, I got the joke. I understood what they were going for. And because of that, it was funnier to me, because I got it. The second one was a little more interesting, because it's obviously there's the Sex and the City reference. They made a Ghostbusters reference at the beginning too, in the movie, I guess. But the movie is apparently the first film that Panty and Stocking are doing, except that Panty kind of reveals to everyone that she did do one film before that, and it's a sex tape. She publicly reveals her sex tape on live TV. And, of course, people copy it and make their own copies, but it never really addresses how they stopped it from spreading on the internet or anything. But it starts to ruin her career, and so Stocking helps her fix things by going all over the world and taking care of all of the copies of the sex tape, I guess. And we see one of the people who had one was the sex ed teacher from the previous segment, the school segment, the one who was yelling, like, if you have sex, you're going to die and everything. It's like, yeah, that sounds about right for sex ed in the American school system. But it's like, he had one of the sex tapes, and that's just ironically funny. But they go all around, they stop it, and in the end, Panty betrays Stocking by removing her from the film. So Stocking takes her revenge by releasing the sex tape once again. And we don't get any, like, follow-up from that, really, other than seeing the one dude, like, about to, watch it with the tissues and all. We understood, like, again, the jokes going for there and the ideas of it all. Yeah, while I wouldn't understand, like, Sex and the City references and stuff because I've never seen any version of that, I understood what they were going for with the actual segment, though, because it was less about the Sex and the City reference and more about, the idea of celebrity sex tapes and whatnot, and just the kind of attention that delivers, not always being so great. But yeah, it's like, that's one thing that has kind of confused me. It's like, why do celebrity sex tapes tend to hurt someone's career? It's like, ooh, this celebrity has sex. That's a career-ending thing? What? It's like, people have sex. Why does it being revealed that a celebrity had sex ruin their career? Why does them having a sex tape being revealed obviously is bad for the person, because it's like, that's their private life and they don't want that revealed and everything. But why is it bad for them in terms of, like, popularity and everything? I don't get that. Like, why would that affect how they're seen by the public? Why would the public care? I'm sure everyone knows that these adult actresses and actors and stuff have sex. It's like, sure, why not? So why does it matter, like, if a sex tape is leaked, especially against their consent and everything? It's like, we should be standing up for the celebrities in that case and feeling bad for them for having this private stuff leaked. That's terrible. It's just like, why are we demonizing the celebrities for it? That just has never made sense to me. But yeah, this episode, both segments, pretty damn good, pretty enjoyable, pretty funny. I really, this is what I like about this series, based off of the first episode and now with the second. It's so ridiculous, it's so over the top, it's absolutely stupid, but in a funny way, in a way where it's like, oh yeah, this is satire, it's making fun of all of this shit, and it's so ridiculously over the top that it's funny, it's enjoyable. And so, yeah, I had a good time with this. And I'm excited to be back with more of this series going forward. So, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of episode 2 of Panty and Stocking with Garterbelt? And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.